No-nonsense gin drinking. All gin, no nonsense.
Hello gin lovers, welcome back. I am Bobby Freeman and today, my friends, we are going to be running through the top 5 weirdest gins. Now the reason I've decided to do this is we have covered many gins over the last 2 years, and I thought it might be interesting to have a quick look back over some of the more unusual ones. So for all you regular viewers, this is going to be going over a little bit of old ground here, but occasionally I think it's good to just sort of stop for a minute, take stock and sort of open up to the new gin lovers which perhaps haven't watched this channel before and give them sort of a bit of a rundown of some of the best bits, or in this case, some of the weirdest bits. So then, let's get stuck in, my friends. But before we do, I have to thank another one of my subscribers who has joined my patrons, Mr. Justin Thomas. You are an official supporter of the show. You are a gentleman and I quite literally salute you.
Number 5.
So straight in at number 5, and by the way, we're going to be going in order of weirdness, right? Descending weirdness, starting at the less weird, ending in the completely weird. So we're going to start off with the not particularly weird, but slightly sort of kooky Black Lodge Potions Stinging Nettle and Honey Gin. Now you're thinking to yourselves, honey, that's fine, not particularly weird. However, stinging nettle, that's pretty weird, I'd say, in terms of botanicals. Now I'm not sure if stinging nettles are, I was going to say available, but if stinging nettles are sort of found worldwide, or whether it's just a British thing. But in case you don't know what they are, it's basically just like a weed that if you touch it, it gives you like a little sting and makes you sort of come up in bumps, and it's very unpleasant. In fact, when I was a child, I seemed to be forever being stung by stinging nettles. They don't seem to get people when you're an adult. I don't know why. They just go for children. They're a very cruel weed. But anyway, the good people at the Black Lodge Distilleries decided it's not going to be a scary weed. They were going to embrace the nettle and they were going to whack some in their gin. And we did have another nettle flavour. I wonder if I've got it in here. We had another nettle flavoured gin way back. Here it is, right at the back of the cupboard. Hang on a second. Right back at the beginning of the channel. The old Whitley Neal. J.J. Whitley. They used nettles as well, but they didn't stick any honey in it. And for me, I thought it was kind of okay. It tasted a bit like a hedgerow, to be honest. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but I think it really sort of left me waving, but I think in the end I didn't particularly like it. So when I discovered this one, I thought to myself, is the addition of honey going to make a difference? And oh my word, it certainly did. To be honest, I thought it was going to be kind of a novelty gin when I first saw it. However, especially during the lockdown, it became one of me and my girlfriend's absolute favourites, and there's hardly any left. I'm just keeping it in case I need to use it on a video like I'm doing today. And as you can see, it's kind of a lovely sort of yellowy colour. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it is just, it has got that hedgerow sort of essence to it, but the honey just kind of offsets it beautifully. Let me just remind myself of the flavour. Oh! Honestly, it tastes like sort of a natural honey, a real sort of, I know all honey is mostly natural, but a real kind of sort of straight out the hive kind of honey. A beautiful, thick, heavy sweetness to it, but the nettle just lifts it with this sort of a sharp zinginess, almost in the way that lemon would do, because obviously honey and lemon is a classic flavour. It does that same sort of thing, but in a slightly different sort of greenish, hedgerowy kind of way. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that the Black Lodge Distilleries are based in Birmingham, and this is my sort of best attempt at a Birmingham accent. It's amazing, isn't it? For such a small country, we've got so many different bloody accents. And I just love the kind of sort of the horror sort of theme. It looks like some scary looking little sort of potion, doesn't it? And they also do some other weird and wonderful flavours. They don't limit themselves to this sort of nettle and honey. There's also wild strawberry and black pepper, which I featured on this channel, which you can go back and have a look at the video of. And one more, which I haven't tried yet, which is dark cherry and chili chocolate. So I really admire this company. They're not hugely well known. You won't find these in the mainstream, but if you ever see them on any sort of specialist website or anything, try one of their gins, particularly this one, because although it looks like a novelty one, it's a genuinely brilliant one, and I think you'll absolutely love it.
Number 4.
Next up is this little chap, which is Lone Wolf Cactus and Lime Gin. Now I featured this one on the show a few weeks ago, and again, it really kind of threw me because the smell was very, very different. The smell is a real kind of, I don't know if you've ever tried the Brockman's gin, which is a very heavy sort of berry and fruity sort of smell to it. It feels, it's almost like Ribena, like blackcurrant. It's very, very thick. However, it takes you by surprise. When you pour it in the glass and get a bit of the old tonic with it, completely different. Just stick a bit in there like that. Let's have a quick taste, remind myself. Totally different. Again, kind of a... I've never eaten cactus before. I've said before, I've only ever seen cacti in the desert or in my grandma's house in plant pots, and not once have I thought to myself, that looks tasty, I'll eat it. But it gives a kind of a extremely unique flavour. And again, like the nettle one, there's kind of something plant-like about it. It's definitely a plantiness. And again, it really threw me when I reviewed this first time, and I can't, sometimes you have a gin and you just think, do you know what, it's so weird, I don't know if I like it or not. It's so sort of strange and alien to the taste buds, they can't make sense of it. And I suspect it's kind of an acquired taste. There's not much lime in there, to be honest. It's all encompassing, that cactusy sort of flavour. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones where you have to sort of stick at it for a little bit, and after a while you'll be like, okay, yeah, I've kind of worked this out now. And I think I'm on the way, on the sliding slope to liking it, but I'm not quite there yet. And it's actually made way up there in Scotland by a wee company called Brewdog, who actually specialise in craft beers, but they've come into the gin market and they thought to themselves, you know what, that there gin market is bloody saturated. There's too many gins in there. So you know what, we're going to go in there and we're going to make something bold, new and original. That's very difficult to say. Original, I think that's right. And you know what? I like that. I like it because there's so much gin out there. I like that they've tried something absolutely completely new and completely crazy. So even if it's not your favourite gin straight away, I reckon it's definitely worth giving this one a go. So if you want to try something new, something a little bit weird, but kind of sort of, you're not sure, it's going to take you on a bit of an adventure, then my friends, you could do a lot worse than trying the old Lone Wolf Cactus and Lime from Brewdog.
Number 3.
Okay, now this is where things start to get a little bit weirder. We're halfway through now, and let me introduce you to this tiny little chap, which is called Deville. Now, not as I originally pronounced it on my original review of it, as Demille. It's actually spelled D-E and then M-I-L-E, which looks like Demille or Demile, which I was completely wrong, because that, my friends, is the Welsh language for you. It can take you in all sorts of directions. You never know what you're reading. Well, I don't anyway. Now, my Welsh accent is not too bad. I can hold it for a while, but after a little bit, it sort of drifts into Indian. I don't know why. Now, someone once told me, if you're going to do a Welsh accent, do it with a nice, deep voice like that, because the Welsh boys from the valleys, they got lovely deep voices, see? And as far as I'm aware, I don't think there are many Welsh gins out there. In fact, I reckon this is the only Welsh gin in my collection, innit? So it's a very special gin and a very original gin, and it is quite unusual because one of the main ingredients, or botanicals I should say, is seaweed. That's right, seaweed. That's not usually a botanical you'd expect to find in the gin. However, my friends, this little chap is what we call a savoury gin. Now, I'm going to drop the action for a little bit because I do enjoy doing it, but however, it is quite hard work. And we don't get many savoury gins, but this is fast becoming a thing. I featured a gin the other day, which was shiitake mushroom and butternut squash or something. Again, a savoury gin, which sounds absolutely crazy, but you know what? It's kind of strangely enjoyable. Let's whack a little bit in here, because I haven't tried this one for a long time. I featured it on the show quite a while ago now. As I said, I got the pronunciation wrong, so I'm glad to sort of rectify that problem. So let me refresh my taste buds with it. 1 second. Oh, God damn it. Do you know what? Again, extremely bizarre sensory sort of feedback on the taste buds because they're not expecting it. It's kind of, again, not a planty sort of essence to it, but I'd say more of a vegetable-y kind of essence, which again doesn't sound particularly nice, but honestly, it's kind of sort of creeps in, but it's it's very balanced with the juniper flavours. Now that, my friends, to balance those sort of flavours takes a lot of skill. But the guys down at this Welsh distillery they clearly know exactly what they're doing. They must be absolute masters of the art, because yeah, it's almost very difficult to explain. It's kind of almost as if it's been seasoned a little bit, just a tiny bit, sort of in the same way a meal would be. And they've kind of offset that against the juniper, and it sounds like it's never going to work. I would never have thought of putting seaweed in there, but it just kind of melds beautifully together and creates this sort of a whole new gin DNA, if you like. And it's something that I think perhaps is going to be more and more mainstream in the future. And I would recommend, if you're looking for something that is completely different. In fact, they said on the website that it's designed or sort of created to be paired with seafood. I totally get that, because I don't really like drinking a gin and tonic with my meal. However, one of these sort of savoury ones, I could definitely get on board with that while I'm eating a meal. So then, gin lovers, if you're looking for something a little bit out of the ordinary, again, all these gins are out of the ordinary, but this is a little bit out of the ordinary in an even more unordinary way. And I know that makes no bloody sense, but this gin itself doesn't make a lot of sense, but I tell you now, it's bloody lovely, and I reckon you should get one of those little fellas on your shelf straight away. That's Scottish.
Number 2.
Now then, my friends, here's where things start to get really weird, because let me introduce you to Antigin by the Cambridge Distilleries. And as you can see from the sort of graphic on the back of that bottle, this is the world's first gin to be made with insects, specifically ants. That's right, it is made with crushed up ants. So somebody at the Cambridge Distilleries, I don't know who, goes out to the woods in Kent, forages around and finds red wood ants, gathers them up, takes them back to the distillery, gives them a good old well, I don't know if he mashes them up or chucks them straight in, I don't know. But anyway, they get distilled in with all the rest of the botanicals, and they make this ant-flavoured gin. So any vegans watching, this is definitely not the one for you. It's probably the cruelest gin known to mankind. And just in case it's not anti enough for you, you also get a little bottle of this, which is pure ant distillate, which I guess is just concentrated ant juice. Now, I suppose that's a nice little gimmick, nice little thing to get with the gin, but I kind of think, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to mix gin up. I'm paying the money. Could you not have mixed it up for me? But maybe that's just me. So let's have a little refreshment of the taste, shall we? By the way, that is a beautiful bottle there. We can't argue with that. It's most definitely a nice bottle. So let's get a tiny bit. Whoa, that's more than I wanted. And not least because it's a rather expensive gin, which I will come on to in a moment. So let's marry that little chap up with the tonic in there like that. Now, I seem to remember this one was a very nice gin. There was nothing wrong with it. It's just, yep, I'd say that's a nice gin. It's kind of got a lovely woodiness to it, which doesn't sound particularly pleasant, but trust me, it's a nice sort of subtle sort of bassy sort of flavour in there, kind of barky, but then sort of beautiful sort of citrusy sort of tendrils sort of lift themselves out of it, and it's balanced absolutely amazingly. Really nothing wrong with that gin at all. In fact, I'd say it's a very good gin. And in fact, it is the ants that give it that citrusy sort of tendril sort of taste, because apparently the ants exude this stuff called formic acid, and that makes this sort of citrusy tasting flavour. So let's add a bit of ant distillate. Now, I was a little bit disappointed with it. Look, it comes in a proper pipette and everything. It's awesome. I was a little bit sort of disappointed with this, to be honest, because it didn't really seem to change the flavour of the gin at all. So let's have a little bit of a refreshment just to sort of, refresh my memory. Here we go. Doesn't taste any different. So what I did, I actually thought to myself, well, let's have a little bit of this pure distillate, shall we, and see how that. And to be honest, that tastes like water, to be honest. Slightly sort of citrusy and acidic, but essentially just water, which is doubly disappointing when I tell you the big issue about this gin, my friends, and that is the price, because good Lord above, it is expensive. Over here in the UK, it will cost you, get ready for this. Are you sitting down? If you're not, I suggest you do so immediately, because this gin will cost you 120 English pounds, which is 296 American dollars and 243 euros, which I said when I originally reviewed this gin is just absolutely ridiculous. Okay, yeah, I appreciate it takes time to go and forage for these ants. You know, some poor bloke's got to go out there, he's got to get his trousers all dirty and everything. I'm sure that's not the main concern when he goes out there. But anyway, it's pretty labour intensive to do that. But at the end of the day, I just say, so what? You know, it just tastes a bit citrusy. And to be honest, you can definitely get citrus taste without going to forage from ants. So to me, it's definitely, a great gin for the collection. And sort of, I would never have bought it if I wasn't doing this channel because, yeah, it's a nice gin. In fact, I'd say it's a very good gin. But is it worth £220? Absolutely no way. And I would not recommend, unless you've got loads of money, you know, I do not recommend, it's not worth you going out there and trying it, trust me.
Number 1.
So then, gin lovers, here we are, and the number 1 on the top 5 weirdest gins is... That's right, my friends, it could only be my little friend here, the In Love You gin. And I think, to be honest, most of my regular viewers and subscribers will have probably predicted this. But if you're not a regular viewer and subscriber, then you're probably wondering yourself why this sort of little fairly sort of bland and sort of, apart from the colour, sort of fairly innocuous looking gin is on my number 1 spot. Well, my friends, wonder no more, because the clue is in the fact there's a little elephant on the front of the gin there, and indeed on the top there. And I can tell you now that In Love You gin is made from elephant poo. Now at this point you're probably thinking to yourselves, you know what, I've enjoyed this video so far. He seems like a nice bloke, he can do a few accents, and I like his red shirt. But now he has quite clearly taken leave of his senses. And I don't blame you for thinking such a thing, but bear with me just a little bit longer, because this, and I know what you're thinking, it sounds so weird. Who would want to drink a gin that has got shit in it? However, my friends, believe it or not, it is absolutely beautiful and one of my most favourite gins probably of the whole year, because obviously you can't imagine that this could ever taste nice. It's not a natural thing to want to eat feces. But apparently in South Africa, which is where this gin is from, in fact I need to apologise, because when I did my 10 gins from 10 countries and I featured this, I said it was the country it was from is Africa, and obviously Africa is a continent, and I should have said South Africa. So once again, I am a ignoramus, and that has been proved beyond all reason and doubt. But apparently in South Africa, they have used indigenous people have used elephant poo for years for sort of medicinal purposes and to make sort of tea and for cooking and drinking. So I thought, I've got to try this. I've got a gin channel, I need to try this gin. And you know what? It's just, let me just again refresh the old taste buds. Oh man, it's very difficult to describe and make it sound nice, because it's a very sort of earthy sort of taste and kind of grassy as well. Almost sort of like, I grew up on a farm around a lot of straw and hay, and it almost sort of, the aftertaste when it fills the nostrils gives you a sort of sense of almost sort of like hay, which is obviously dry grass, which again, it sort of conjures up this image, and I'm probably not painting the greatest picture, but trust me, it works so well. They blend these flavours with sort of tea sort of essence as well, and again you've got that core sort of juniper root come running through it, because if it's not juniper it's not gin, and somehow they make an exceptional gin. Not just passable, not just that's not too bad for a gin that is basically elephant droppings. It's actually a genuinely nice product. As you can see, the only reason I've not drunk very much yet is because we're rationing it, because you can't actually get it in this country, and we love it so much we're trying to make it last. And not only do I love the taste, but I love the sort of backstory behind it, because on the back of the gin you have a coordinate which tells you the location of the nature reserve, where the poo was found, and the date on which some guy or lady picked up the poo. So in fact, I can tell you now that a year and 2 months ago, someone came along and picked it. Well, first of all, an elephant came along, did a big dump. Someone came along, picked it up, whacked it in a still, boiled it all up, put it in a bottle, sent it over to Germany, which is our nearest distributor, and someone from there sent it over to me, and it is now being drunk by old Freeman here on his YouTube channel. And that just makes me incredibly happy. Now, as I said, it's not available everywhere in the world. You might struggle to find this one, but if you ever find yourself, do a bit of research. If you ever find yourself in a place where it is available and you're able to try it, please just, I absolutely 100% recommend, don't sort of listen to your head, which is saying, don't drink it, it's poo, it's poo. Just give it a go, because it will be probably one of the most pleasant surprises you ever experience in life. So guys, there we have it, my top 5 weirdest gins. I hope you've found this video useful, informative and titillating, and many other adjectives. If indeed you have, as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, press the little like button on the video, and of course the little bell icon so you get notified when all my new videos come out. And of course, if you want to support my show like good old Justin Thomas did, head over to my Patreon page as well, or you can click the join button, you can click it if you like, but I prefer it if you click the join button below this video. But until next time guys, take care, stay safe, thank you to all my patrons, and keep drinking the gin.